I do want to talk about the Hornets real quick.
Okay.
I think the Hornets have done an outstanding job
Sure.
this offseason or this trade deadline. I think they've done as well as you can possibly have done, not moving a star level player, moving like role player-y guys, and finding ways into interesting players. They got first round picks for Terry Rozier and PJ Washington. They got a former first round pick who's shown like some flashes in Trey Mann. I've never been quite as high on Trey as some, but a guy worth looking at the very least. Like quite a few second round picks. They ended up moving a couple second round picks as well over to Dallas in the PJ Washington deal. I just think that they've done a ton here, given what their assets were, if their goal was to rebuild. I would have loved them to move Miles Bridges, but it seems like Miles Bridges was not going to accept anything, given what Rich Paul told Brian Windhorst over at ESPN, that he was not going to accept a deal anywhere because he has veto rights on any trade, having picked up his qualifying offer. But given the assets they had on the table, I think they did as well as they possibly could have. And I rarely say good things about Mitch Kupchak as a GM. So I just want to be very clear. I think Charlotte did unbelievable selling for what their assets were.
Yeah, I mean, essentially the second round picks were a wash, right? Because they got 2 in the deal for Gordon Hayward, but they sent out 2 in the deal that sent PJ to Dallas. But as you know, somebody that covers a team who traded off a bunch of players and got no first round picks in return, I can't help but really appreciate a team who returned 2 first round picks, one of which is only top 2 protected. So that's very likely to convey in 2027. The other one is protected, the one from Miami in 2027, but unprotected in 2028. Now I realize with the Miami Heat, like that's not going to be a lottery pick, either of those years, most likely, even in 2028, if it's unprotected and makes it there. But just the fact they got 2 first round picks for those guys, that stood out to me on a day, again, like I said, when the team behind me traded as many guys as they did and didn't return a single one. So yeah, I think it's fair to say, like you say, you get interesting guy in Trey Mann, like who knows? And Micic isn't an awful player, and then you get off that contract eventually. And so I'm with you. I like what they did. You still have the core of LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller and Mark Williams. And, even with everything off the court, Miles Bridges has played well on the court this year.